This is Gospel Music Today, and we're at Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's a great pleasure to be talking to someone that we've seen on the program, and you may know him as the inventor of the drive-by whooping. This is Aaron Wilburn. Aaron, we're thrilled to have you here tonight.
Thanks, Ken. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, we've seen you on our program as a Christian comedian. We've seen the drive-by whoopings and the wife picking out her clothes, you know, some of those routines. But you're also a great songwriter, and
thank you.
When we were at the quartet convention our first time a couple of years ago, we saw Karen Peck on stage, and she sang 4 Days Late, and we were just so moved by that song, which was written by Aaron Wilburn.
Yes.
What's the background of that song? How did that come to you?
Well, this is one of those songs that I lived before I wrote, and that song still moves me. Every time I hear another singer sing it or I sing it, it's like hearing it for the first time. I had gone through a time of sickness, and I'd been very ill for several months. And actually, it was just a simple sinus infection that got out of control, and yet no doctors, 4 doctors and 2 specialists could not find the problem. And I had not slept when the Lord gave me the idea for this song. It was at a time I had not slept for 3 days or nights. First time in my life, Ken, that I'd ever gone through that kind of pain and emotional turmoil. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm sitting on the sofa, and I've just turned off the television, looking through the channels, trying to find something that would take my mind off the pain. And I just reached over, and I happened to have my Bible beside me. You know, happened, you know, you don't happen to have. I mean, it was there, strategically placed, you know. And for whatever reason, I had placed it there earlier. And I picked up my Bible, and I opened the Bible, and to John's account of the story of Lazarus. And that scripture says, and Jesus loved Martha and her sister Mary and Lazarus. And so he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. And I realized as I sat there in my pain, I'm not the first to need Jesus now, to want him to walk through the door right now and take my problem away. And I realized as I sat there, Lazarus closed his eyes in death, expecting Jesus to walk through the door at any moment. And God had another plan. And as I sat there thinking about these things, I just broke, and I was weeping. And it was as clearly spoken to me into my mind as I'm speaking to you now. When I'm 4 days late, I'm still on time. And every time I would try to write that song, though, within a couple of weeks, I found a doctor that found the problem, and within a month, I was totally well, but this idea was planted in my mind. But every time I would start to write it, my mind would go back to the pain, and I couldn't write it. A year and a half later, I was listening to radio one day, and my wife was listening to a station, and they played a song, and I said, I had that idea. I said, I've had that idea in that song for about 8 years, and I didn't write it, and somebody beat me to it. And my wife looked at me and said, and one day, you're going to turn on the radio, and someone is going to be singing. When he's 4 days late, he's still on time. And you're going to say, God gave me that, and I didn't write it. And I began weeping. I said, this is the day. And I went into the living room and I asked my wife to come in because she had done a lot of study by this time on Mary and Martha, and one being busy and the other being a servant, and she had taught it at some of the ladies' conferences, and we began talking, and within probably less than an hour, we had written 4 days late.
It was the right moment.
It was the right moment, the right time, and isn't it great when he's 4 days late, he's still on time. And it's true in our lives too.
It is, yes, that's right. Aaron Wilburn, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure to have you on our program.
Well, the pleasure is mine.
And we'll be watching for you, believe me.
Thank you, and hello to all you folks in Rhode Island and whoever hears this that wonders, where did that accent come from? Hope to see you sometimes.
Now back to more great Southern gospel music on Gospel Music Today.